Hello, I'm Atujame and you're watching News Pulse on Hornbill TV. In what will be considered a historic day for the Nagas, the state cabinet today declared TSEMINYU, NIULAND and CHUMOUKEDIMA as districts. With the creation of the 3 new districts, Nagaland has now 15 districts. Meanwhile, Advisor for Animal Husbandry and Veterinary Services, Women Resources Development R. King today, while addressing a press conference, expressed his gratitude to the state government for declaring TSEMINYU as the 13th district of Nagaland. King acknowledged CM Nipuryu and cabinet ministers for their dynamic leadership and guidance in taking up the necessary steps in ensuring the people's voice and making it a historical decision. He also thanked the neighboring districts for their constant support and prayers all along in formation of the district. He also further congratulated the residents of CHUMOUKEDIMA and NIULAND for becoming the 14th and 15th districts. Naga Students Federation NSF President Kekwahyun Tep and Rengma Selo Z also appreciated the government in taking a bold decision for making TSEMINYU a district.
Today, this is the epoch-making days for Rengma community. And we will also our best, try our best to make this 13th district, known as TSEMINYU district, as a model district for the people of the Rengma especially, and then our neighboring villages and business community. For this, I want to convey this. I want to assure you that we will try our best to make this.
As mentioned in our report, the Nagaland cabinet has decided to declare TSEMINYU, CHUMOUKEDIMA and NIULAND as a district, and to get to know more about this, we'll have a short discussion with my colleague Elle joining us from the newsroom. So thank you, Elle, for joining us today as well.
Yeah, too.
So as mentioned earlier, could you please give us more details about this?
Thank you, Atu. First thing, it was a huge surprise for some of the areas that have been declared a district. Yes, there TSEMINYU and NIULAND, I believe that they have been demanding the status of a district for a long time now, and I think it was expected. However, in regard to CHUMOUKEDIMA, I think there are still a lot of conversations going on, even on social media, the on Facebook, and there are people who are writing in and calling up saying if this is true. So I think all in all, it's a pleasant shock, but then for TSEMINYU and NIULAND, I think the people there must be celebrating. Right now, this is I think this is just at an approval level. I think there's a lot of work to be done, especially in regard to reorganizing the state, the districts, and the personnel.
Okay, so since you have mentioned TSEMINYU and NIULAND have been demanding for the district for quite some time now, so what would it mean to them? What do you think it would mean to them?
Yeah, that's a very relevant question, and I think that's a question that the people of the new districts now, they will be looking forward to a lot of changes, especially in regard to the socio-economic personality of their districts, of their areas. For example, when you have a new district, when a new district is created, there are a lot of advantages to it. For instance, firstly, employment will be concentrated, for example, especially for that area. The administrative apparatuses of that area will also be concentrated, so which means the administration will reach a lot of people. So there are a lot of pros and cons, but however, in terms of the impact on the state and the districts, in the districts of the state, I think it will be mainly be in terms of bureaucratic restructuring and logistics. For example, if you create a new district, then obviously it means that you're going to need a lot of personnel for that particular area. So there will be a lot of restructuring, and of course there will also be questions of fund allocation, which means our state will have to come up with a revised, bigger, fatter budget, especially because you are now going to distribute the money to 15 different districts.
Now, as mentioned, we now have 15 districts. So, when it comes to creating or declaring a place a district, are there any criteria that the place has to cover?
Yeah, there are a number of procedures to it, and there are some norms that you have to follow, but technically there are only two primary norms that you have to follow. The first thing is, if you want to create a district, you have to pass a legislation in the state assembly where both the houses of the assembly, they agree, they append to it, and you create a district. The second norm is that you can simply pass what you call an executive order by simply stating a notification in the official gazette. So what you do is, instead of taking the legislative route, which can be a little time consuming, and it will involve discussions and debate, normally states in India, they go the executive route. The chief minister of the state, for example, he will pass an executive order, and this proposal, and this proposal is passed on to the finance ministry of the state. For example, in the state we don't have a ministry, but we have a department. So this proposal is sent to the finance department, and they examine the cost. For example, like, how much money will it take from the government to establish a district? How much money will be required to run it every year? What is the population? So they examine all these aspects, and after it is approved, it comes back to the executive again, after which they pass the order, and the district is created.
Okay. Also, when we talk about demanding districts, there are also other places that are demanding a district. So do you think the government declaring these 3 places as districts will again put force on the other places that are demanding for a separate district as well?
Right now, so far, TSEMINYU and NIULAND, they have been at the forefront of people who have been wanting a separate district for themselves, and now with CHUMOUKEDIMA adding to the line, I think they have got a demand which will certainly encourage other communities or groups to come up with their own districts, administrative areas. Right now, I'm not aware of any other new groups who might be wanting to come up with a district of their own, but certainly in the future there is a possibility that other groups and communities from different parts of the districts of the state will come up with a demand of their own. Certainly, yeah, it will be an encouragement to them.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us today, El.
Thank you, Atu. Thank you.